Here's your podcast script. Can a youth boom survive South Sudan's education crisis? That's the question the New York Times is asking, and the answer coming out of Juba right now is deeply unsettling. South Sudan is the world's newest nation, founded in 2011 after a decades-long independence war, and its education system is on the verge of collapse. We're not talking about a system that's struggling. We're talking about one that has essentially stopped functioning for the people it's supposed to serve. Here's the starkest fact in this story: not a single teacher in the entire country has received a government salary in more than a year. Not one. And yet, somehow, the schools are still open. Take Paul Centino. He's the headmaster of Gumbo Basic School in Juba, the capital. He's 67 years old. Every morning, he walks 4 miles to school around dawn. Every evening, he walks 4 miles home. He hasn't been paid in over a year. When asked why he still shows up, he said, simply, "I like my job too much." He added that young people are the future of South Sudan. That's what keeps him going. The numbers behind this crisis are staggering. About half of South Sudan's 12 million people are 18 or under, a massive youth population that could, in theory, be an enormous economic asset for the country and for Africa more broadly. But only 40% of primary school-aged children are even enrolled in school. And of those, only a tiny fraction meet basic benchmarks for literacy and numeracy, according to United Nations data. So what happened? South Sudan has oil revenue. It has had international support since independence. But according to reporting from the Times, the country's leaders have siphoned billions of dollars that could have gone to education. For years, education has rated, in the words of this article, little more than a rounding error in the government's budget. The Trump administration cut donor funding and put the blame squarely on South Sudan's government, with the State Department saying the dire state of education is not a donor resource problem, calling out the government's failure to use public resources for basic services, and accusing South Sudan of treating foreign assistance as a substitute for governance. South Sudan's information minister, for his part, acknowledged the aid cuts hit hard, but said the country has no choice but to rely on itself. Meanwhile, at Gumbo School, the average class size is 87 students. There's no money to fix the borehole that delivers the school's drinking water. Teachers prioritize hot meals and, in some rural areas, educators have had to abandon academic goals altogether. One policy expert told The Times, through tears, that in some places teachers have no choice but to prioritize mental health and play. It's that bad, she said. And yet, even amid all of this, there are people like Simon Oba. He's 23, volunteers at the school, lives in a mud house he built himself, walks to school and back every day, and reads by candlelight at night. He's studying math, science, and religious studies at the University of Juba. When he finishes, he says, he already knows what he wants to be, a teacher. Without education, he said, no change will happen. It is a key for everything. That is the story of South Sudan's education crisis, a system abandoned by those with power, held together by people who have almost nothing, for a generation that deserves far more.